Hello, my name is Andrew Cucci, and I'm going to be leading off this capstone presentation. So the company that we've been doing our project on is Narragansett Beer. All right, so I'm going to start by giving a little introduction of the company background. And Narragansett Brewing Company was founded in 1890, and they're a historic Rhode Island based brewery. They're known for their iconic high neighbor slogan, and the brand has a strong local identity and regional pride. So over the years, it has expanded its market presence beyond just New England and to other states like Florida and New York. All right. So I'm going to give a little bit of background on the industry as well. So the craft beer industry is highly competitive, and there's been a growing focus on um, unique and local flavors, as well as sustainability and community engagement. And Narragansett really differentiates itself from its competitors through its nostalgic appeal. And they have really been a key player in not only regional markets, but as well as national markets with this tactic. Some key highlights here before we move on. Narragansett Beer has a strong regional brand loyalty, and this is especially prominent in Rhode Island. They have had some major growth through collaborations with other companies, such as Dell's Lemonade and Autocrat Coffee Milk Stout. And their expansion into new markets has been very prominent, and they're maintaining this unique and localized identity when they're doing this.
All right, so up next is focusing on Narragansett Beer's current strategy. So, Narragansett Beer uses a differentiation focus strategy, which, with this, they use New England local culture in their products to create connection to consumers. So, for example, as pictured here, the Narragansett Shandy drink is collaborated with Dell's Lemonade, and to many locals from Rhode Island or even New England, they know Dell's Lemonade is a fan favorite, specifically in Rhode Island. So, this collaboration really connects to locals and they know it's a good brand, so they are more inclined to buy the drink, and it's just a fan favorite in itself. Secondly, another example is coffee milk, and coffee milk is another Rhode Island staple, and it also just connects the Rhode Island feel to the consumer when they purchase the coffee milk stout from Narragansett Beer. So, this evokes Rhode Island traditions, building customer loyalty because they feel like they're contributing to the community and feeling that connection with the brand when they purchase Narragansett beer products. So they really just develop that connection to a local company. However, there are challenges to the differentiation focus strategy. For example, it does limit the brand appeal outside of New England. So, to someone from California or Washington State, they might not know what Dell's Lemonade is or coffee milk, so they might not feel that connection or appreciate it as much as a Rhode Island or New Englander would. So, the appeal they're trying to connect might not work as effectively to someone outside of New England who might not be familiar with those local brands. Secondly, Narragansett beer is not brewed directly in Rhode Island, so that might hurt their local authentic feel that they're trying to go for within their products. So this might affect their appearance as being a local beer as well.
So I'm going to briefly walk you through Narragansett Beer's corporate strategy, focusing on how vertical integration, product diversification, and geographic scope play a role in their business model. Let's start with vertical integration. Narragansett doesn't fully control its production process. Actually, most of its flagship beer, the lagers, are brewed in Western New York by the Genesee Brewing Company. This helps them scale efficiently, but it's still outsourcing. At the same time, they do operate a smaller brewery in Providence, Rhode Island, where they make specialty and small batch beers. So while they're taking on some aspects of vertical integration with their Providence facility, their overall supply chain still relies heavily on external partners. This hybrid approach allows them to cut costs while still maintaining a local connection with their customers. Next is product diversification. Narragansett isn't just sticking to one type of beer, they really expanded their portfolio. Alongside their classic lager, they produce specialty and seasonal brews. These include collaborations with iconic local brands like Dell's Lemonade and Autocrat Coffee, which tie into Rhode Island's traditions and help the brand stand out in a saturated craft beer market. They've also embraced product market diversification by expanding beyond beer into branded merchandise. I'm sure you've been around New England and you've seen somebody sporting a High Neighbor shirt or an Narragansett hat. These items help reinforce brand loyalty and build community around their identity, not just as a beverage, but as a lifestyle rooted in local pride. Finally, their geographic scope. While Narragansett is a regional brand at heart, it now distributes to 21 states. They have a strong presence in New England, but they've also expanded to places like Florida, New York, and Virginia. That said, their strongest customer base still lies in New England, where the local references and brand history resonate the most. Overall, their strategy is about balancing growth with authenticity. They're expanding carefully through selective outsourcing, unique products, and smart branding, while staying true to their Rhode Island roots.
Strategy recommendations for the future. With everyone in health, we thought that they should expand their health conscious offerings, like non-alcoholic or low-calorie options. This is definitely beneficial for people that either were alcoholics and are trying to stop, or people that just are trying to be healthy, a little healthier in general, so watching their calories. We also said that they should preserve the local identity in the New England region, and they should grow, carefully beyond that region, but also keep their presence still intact, since they do have a really good presence in this New England region. Also continuing their collaborations with iconic local brands. They have this Jaws advertisement back in the 1975. And this is something that they still, you see on shirts and sweatshirts, and they still use this advertisement, which definitely helps the brand. We also said that they should build a stronger operations marketing. This just generally, any marketing and strategic operations team will be huge. If you improve that, the bigger it is, you could grow better. And then managing costs to stay competitive against big beer brands. You have all these other brands, Budweiser, Heineken, bigger beer brands growing at faster rates just because they have more money, and are basically growing nationally. So, if they can manage their costs and somehow still stay competitive, that'd be big for the future.
Narragansett's global expansion strategy. First, let's start with their expansion goals. Narragansett is a historic New England beer brand with strong regional loyalty, but their heavy dependency on local states limits where they could grow to. The goal here is to reduce their dependency on New England states and expand beyond them. Their long-standing heritage back to 1890 gives them a unique story and identity that can leverage them out to new customers. Using their history, they can gain the attention of many customers across the world. Next, let's take a look into their strategic approaches. To enter new markets, Narragansett would have to collaborate with local distributors. This is a smart move because it would help them enter new markets, and it would get them partners that already understand how the new markets work. Next, they would have to participate in international beer festivals to get their name out there. By participating in international beer festivals, they can introduce the brand to both consumers and potential industry partners. These events could be great exposure for them to get their name out there. And then they would also might want to create different products so they could acquire different cultural taste. This would help them connect with better cultures in different countries. Going global could bring some challenges and risks to them. One of their biggest risks would be their brand identity. As Narragansett adapts to their brand identity for different markets, there's a fine line between being flexible and staying too far from what makes their brand unique. They're known for being a local brewery and their history, so going globally could hurt the business. And then also their cultural differences in the taste of beer. Going to a different country, they might not like the taste of their beer or what the history of the beer, so it could also hurt the company as well. And then there's also some high cost in going globally, since as shipping the beer, importing it, and exporting it to different countries could raise cost. and they wouldn't be able to sell their beer as cheap as they do now.
Now I'll go over how Narragansett Beer is navigating today's economic climate, which is especially important given the rising costs and supply chain pressures impacting the beverage industry. First off, one of the biggest cost risks for the company is that the majority of their production takes place outside of Rhode Island in Western New York. Since they rely on Genesee Brewing for most of their beer, any rise in production or transportation costs in that region directly affects them. That said, because they don't operate their own large-scale brewing facility, they avoid many of the fixed costs and capital expenses that burden other craft breweries. Instead, Narragansett uses a lean production model. They maintain a smaller tap room and brewery in Providence, which allows them to engage with the local community and brew specialty beer in-house, without taking a full cost of large-scale operations. This hybrid model helps them stay flexible and respond more easily to economic shifts. Another key point is their organizational structure. Narragansett operates with a small, streamlined team, which gives them the ability to make quick decisions and adapt to a change in market conditions. In contrast to larger corporations, which may need layers of approval to pivot strategies, Narragansett can act fast, whether that's introducing a new seasonal beer or shifting their marketing approach. They also outsource a lot of their operations, particularly brewing, which lowers overhead and allows them to reinvest in branding, partnerships, and community engagement. This strategy has helped them stay nimble and avoid overextending themselves financially. Additionally, their regional focus helps reduce logistical complexity and costs. By shipping primarily within 21 states, many of which are located near their home base, they're not dealing with the headaches or expenses of international shipping or long-distance supply chains. This makes their distribution more manageable, especially in today's volatile market. Lastly, their expansion approach is cautious and measured. Instead of chasing rapid national or global growth, they focus on markets that align with their brand identity. This helps reduce risk and keeps them grounded in what makes their company successful: local pride and quality beer. So in short, Narragansett is navigating current economic conditions by staying lean, outsourcing smartly, and growing carefully. It's a strategy built on efficiency, flexibility, and staying true to their roots. So I'm sorry. Thanks for watching.